Y'all already know all the news has been going on right now. The comments about Anthony Edwards not being the face, well, not wanting to be the face in the NBA, which then sparked the conversation with Channing Frye about nostalgia baiting and why would anybody want to be the face of a league where, there's a lot of criticism handed your way. Last game, LeBron talked about it as well, and he gave his 2 cents, which was pretty eye-opening and illuminating because, he's been the face of this league for as long as anybody ever has been. More than 15 years for sure.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but like, why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? That responsibility, it's just weird. It's weird energy. Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it. I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So
that's a good point that LeBron stated, because there's a bunch of people who are trying to push this label of Anthony Edwards being the face of the NBA. It's not just that you have the aura, the charisma, the game, the aesthetically pleasing style of play as well, or you're winning and dominant. You also have to want the responsibility that comes along with it. And so LeBron acknowledging like, hey, I didn't want it, or I didn't ask for it, which I don't necessarily believe that per se, but I also accepted the responsibility. Now, with that being said, because I'm not going to play the whole thing, it was a bunch of comments that were being said all throughout the ethosphere this past 24 hours, basically. I personally responded to what Stephen A. Smith said because I thought he was enamored about the idea of responding to it. I didn't really get to touch upon everyone else because, there's a lot of things going on. So if you want to hear my response to Stephen A. Smith in particular, go to my channel, Foot on the Line. I wanted to spread a little bit more, at least illuminate and shed some light to what other people were saying in the space as well. So this right here is what Brian Windhorst and Perkins had to say about what LeBron had said.
Is about the conversation after the win last night. LeBron was asked about Anthony Edwards, who was thrown out. Edwards' statement at the All-Star game that he isn't striving to become the face of the league. This was LeBron's fascinating response.
And already said he don't want it.
I know.
Yeah, and say he ain't trying to deal with that.
Is LeBron right?
Well, first off, Anthony Edwards does want to be the face of the league. That's why he's got Sprite and Adidas commercials. The reason he said that at the All-Star game is he's frustrated by the way he gets called for technicals and gets fined.
Boy, it's so crazy that people will try to tell you what you're saying or what you want to do. Having commercials or having a shoe being promoted through your sponsors does not mean that you want to be the face of the NBA. Charles Barkley had a shoe. He had sponsorships. He was taking money off the court, and he straight up told people, I'm not a role model. The responsibility that comes along with all this, I don't want it. And like LeBron said, when it comes to being the face of the league, you also have to accept those responsibilities that comes along with it as well. I don't know why you feel comfortable speaking for someone. I just don't get it. Also, Allen Iverson was someone else that people tried to prop up. That's someone else that, as much as we may have liked Iverson, he was not willing to conform to whatever needed to be done for him to be the face of the league. He just wasn't willing to do it. So no.
I do think LeBron, on the basis level, is correct. I do think that we are out of balance in the way we look at the NBA, where we don't celebrate the greatness as much as we should, that there's more focused on, negativity. Now, when I go across the world, Greeny, and I'm in Abu Dhabi or I'm in Manila or I am in Shanghai, when people come up to me, they want to talk about who's better, LeBron or Jordan. Like, that is something that engages fans. There is a reason why everybody leans into that. And I mean, when I say we, I'm not just talking about the media. I think the league itself doesn't celebrate how great the league is every single night.
Wholeheartedly agree. Not gonna lie, chat, this week of hoops, really since All-Star break, has been amazing. And the fact that we're even pivoting from the amazing hoops that we're watching to this nonsense is crazy. In all my years watching the sport, it's always been known that you don't really gear up to watch a little bit more basketball until, top of the calendar year or post All-Star break anyway. I don't know why niggas is going crazy for this November hoops. I don't know what we're talking about.
Every single night in the NBA, the league is absolutely awesome. And yet there is actually a prevailing belief that the league is in a bad place. This is absolutely preposterous. As somebody who's done this every single day for 22 years, the league has never been better. It's not even in question, but we don't celebrate it enough. I'm not saying you get rid of the stuff about negativity and the arguments, but I do think it is out of balance. I wouldn't agree with everything LeBron said, but on his baseline level, he does have a point.
See, I've said many times, and Hembo and I had it in our book, LeBron is the first immortal of the social media era. And so he's living in a world that none of the others lived in. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, all the others, even Kobe Bryant, for the most part in his career, didn't live in the world that we live in today, where conversation is so much more pervasive, and it is impossible to ignore whether you want to or not.
I agree with Greeny there, because I think the coverage would be different, obviously, if social media existed. Imagine if social media existed when Magic Johnson had that freaky ass interview talking about, I just love sex. I mean, I just love women of all persuasion, flavors. I don't know. I just love it. I don't know. Imagine if that happened when Karl Malone was doing what he did. Imagine if social media existed when Scottie Pippen quit on his team. Imagine if social media existed when Shaq did the exact same thing that everybody accused LeBron of potentially doing. When LeBron went to LA, everybody's like, oh, it's Hollywood. He just wants to pursue his Hollywood career, be in movies, do other things beyond basketball. They criticized LeBron for doing something that he actually didn't do, when Shaq actually did those things. Shaq left a winning organization because his ego wouldn't be able to be put to the side for the relationship between him and Penny Hardaway to go chase more money. And when he got to, and he was open about it, he wanted to get paid more than Alonzo Mourning. And then when he got to LA, Shaq, he wasn't playing all those games. Shaq was missing games, making rap albums, in music videos, making movies, and wasn't winning, getting swept in the playoffs. Imagine if that happened in today's game, in today's social media era.
Do you believe the coverage of the NBA, however you want to define that, is too negative, is unfairly negative, and the players are portrayed unfairly?
At times, yes. I mean, as great as LeBron is, we're still comparing him to other people.
If I had to guess, and I'm trying to put myself in LeBron James' head, I don't think that what upsets him is when people compare him to Michael Jordan. I think what he is upset by and others are upset by is the complaining on the part of a lot of fans and a lot of media about load management, about the style of play today, about all the threes, we talked about it this morning, that are shot in the NBA, what the game looks like on a day-in, day-out basis. I think there was a lot of negativity that they hear relative to those things, I believe.
It's also the MJ comparison as well. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Greeny, but it's all of it.
We complain about load management. We call out the players and not playing hard enough. Fair. Kevin Durant comes out and says there's too much negativity. LeBron says there's too much negativity. Fair. But then let's flip it around. Hey, Anthony Edwards, you're the face of the NBA. Positivity. I don't want that. Hey, LeBron, what about Anthony Edwards as face of the NBA? I can see why he doesn't want that. Everything's negative. So when even people try...
Bro, these niggas have a degree in missing the point, bro.
But a lot of this sport is like WWE in that there's two components. There's the in-ring match, and then there's the microphone work, all right? The NBA can draw a lot of attention, not just for what it does on the court, but for what happens off the court. And they've had a couple issues with how they've branded something. Load management in particular led the fans to get upset because in this country, more than anything else, we love football. So we compare everything to football. And when we see those guys bleeding on the field, and then we immediately come off the Super Bowl and watch the NBA, and we get a big night, but two stars are taking the night off, that gets people angry. It's fair that the guys need a night off. It absolutely is. But it's also fair for the fans to get upset about all of this.
Respectfully, I'm getting tired of too many people talking about this conversation who are not informed enough. This is a topic that has been brewing for years. It's the reason why LeBron and JJ Redick started the podcast in the first place, because they just felt as if like there was a lack of this type of representation of the sport. This is not like oh man, y'all are upset, but if y'all didn't play an all-star game, like this is something they were complaining about last year and the year before that and the year before that.
It wasn't that long ago that it was very fashionable to dump on the National Football League. Now the NFL is riding as high as anything has ever ridden. I remember maybe 10 years ago.
Thank you, Greeny. Thank you. And it's the same shit that goes on with PK, whatever his name was, about the NHL. Bro, I promise you all, when it comes to the health of the league or ratings, it's all based off of storylines, a compelling story, a dominance, identifiable superstars playing aesthetically pleasing style of game. That's what it's about. Right now, the NFL is riding high on a massive uptick of viewership because of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs dominance. That's why. I vividly remember when all that, we go out there and we try hard and we do everything we can and we play so hard. I vividly remember everyone used to trash on the NFL. Viewership was down. Oh, it's soft now. You can't hit nobody. You can't hit no quarterbacks. It's soft. Oh, but the reason why it's soft because concussions and CTE. People were concerned about if there was even going to be another generation of stars playing the game because no one wanted to actually go out there and put their sons and their kids' lives on the line because of the uncertainty of the direction of the health of everything that was happening. Because niggas was tired of talking about Tom Brady. Tom Brady's time came and went. Peyton Manning was over with. Ben Roethlisberger was old. But then Patrick Mahomes came. So now there's a compelling storyline to talk about. And even though CTE and concussions are still happening to this day, you niggas don't hear about it no more because they have other things to talk about.
I watched Channing Frye have this rant, and it was insightful. And I disagree with Channing, who I know and like tremendously. And if I was sitting with Channing and or LeBron, I would say, hold on for a second. First of all, we live in a world now in which those guys, and particularly LeBron, they know how to use and manipulate social media, but it goes both ways. It cuts both ways. And that's where a great part of the negativity is. All right? So you engage in this. We live in a world that is largely negative, having nothing to do with sports. That's the world we live in and you live in it. And in LeBron's case, though,
this conversation is not about LeBron. LeBron actually in the quote established that he is the face of the league, or he was the face of the league for a very long time, and he just manifested and navigated through all of the trials and tribulations that came along with it, ups and downs, right? This is about Anthony Edwards, and niggas still talking about LeBron. Furthering the point, no one is acknowledging Anthony Edwards is all. No one.
when you put a crown on your head, do you actually believe that the rest of us are just in your kingdom to serve you? Sorry, there's criticism that comes with that. There's comparison that comes with that. I don't know that LeBron feels this way because I haven't asked him. I'd like to ask him, is he referring to the constant comparisons of Michael Jordan? Because if he doesn't like that, too damn bad. The comparison, the constant attention, that's how you get all that money.
Right, amen, bro. Over their head, bro. Over their head. He literally acknowledged that, hey, man, it happened. I did it. I took on all the responsibility that went with it, good and bad. However, this isn't about me. It's about Anthony Edwards. It's not about the criticism. You can critique people. It's about, is it just criticism? Does it lack context, or is it thoroughly thought out? Or y'all just throwing around narratives for the sake of narratives, baseless narratives? But it's going over their head. And I feel like almost if like y'all are purposely doing it.
We're not there just to praise you, even though that's what I think celebrities of every generation think at the height of their powers.
Y'all did that for Jordan, though. You got on your knees for Jordan.
Draymond Green criticized the game and was quote unquote negative about the style of the game. Where's that coming from? A player, a colleague, a friend of his. So there's so many layers to this, Tony. I could go on forever.
But just because someone, again, is it just criticism, Mike Wilbon? That is the question. Is it just criticism? For example, back in the day, one of the forms of criticism that persisted is this idea that NBA players didn't play defense in the 2000s. That if you wanted to watch actual defense, you would go watch college basketball. Despite the fact that now, after several years has passed, we now believe that, oh, it's all defense. Everybody loves to talk about defense back in the 2000s. That's what people say. That's what people say now, but in real time, that's not how people felt about it. Trust me when I say I lived through it. There were people questioning if people played defense in the 2000s, right? In the pursuit of trying to make sure it happened, you had several people who spoke up and positively about the game of basketball at that time when they were clearly playing defense, right? Let me show you an example of what exactly I'm referring to. There's a wonderful irony where pro basketball is concerned. Those who serenade college basketball and find it necessary to reduce the pro game in the process do so usually by saying with great smugness that the pros don't play defense. And then in this article, it goes on and on about how, we're talking about what exactly happens when in the league and all that stuff and everything that goes along with it. So again, there's a wonderful irony where pro basketball is concerned. Those who serenade college basketball and find it necessary to reduce the pro game in the process do so usually by saying with great smugness, the pros don't play basketball. And, all this goes into great lengths about that they do play defense in today's game. They do play, and everything is just, it's great. We should really celebrate what's going on. So they debunked it, right? They debunked everything about it. And you know who wrote this article? Mike Wilbon, you wrote that article. You took the time out to debunk these myths that were going on. Several years later, we now can appreciate the defense due to your due diligence. So even you acknowledge that the criticism are there, but they may not be accurate criticisms. It may not be just criticisms. When you weren't lazy, you did your due diligence to expose that. But see, what ended up happening is, as time progressed, what happened was a lot of these people who we've given the keys to be the ones to speak about the game, they became lazy and all the stories just wrote themselves. So no more did you need someone like Mike Wilbon to debunk these myths. They just rolled the plot line and stories that were being made for them. LeBron going to Miami, Big Three in Boston, Kobe's ascension,
I'm not going to talk much because I'd rather hear from you because you think Michael Jordan is by far the greatest player who ever lived. And I want to get to that from you.
These niggas love pointing to, they love proving everything we saying.
Get to that from you. But I would just say that this came as news to me.
How could this come as, that's another thing. Y'all niggas is so out of touch, it's crazy. How is this news?
Really wasn't aware. I watch this network a lot, and other than one or two people that you and I both like a lot who are great reporters, I don't hear a lot of criticism of the league at all. And
Oh my God. Who the hey, yo, get this nigga off. Yo, get it off. Get this nigga. Get him the fuck out of here. That's the other problem. These are people who've overstayed their welcome.
And I would say that if Channing Frye is right, that all there is negativity out there, then I guess I wonder, why are there so many shows devoted to the NBA? And why are there networks willing to pay billions of dollars to put the NBA on? I mean,
well, the reason why, and this is where, since I can tell, respectfully, you've never had to concern yourself with how marketing works from a television standpoint. You never had to concern yourself. You're an employee who signs a contract and you keep it pushing. This is why. Right now, cable is in a situation to where the only thing they can do with their money is throw it to sports or live events because they're not getting the same return in certain shows that they used to produce back in the day due to people being able to watch things at their own convenience, such as streaming services on Netflix or just watch things on YouTube. So there's no rhyme or reason for them to put money into developing new TV shows instead of just throwing a large lump sum of money to sporting events. And the reason why the money keeps getting larger and larger is because they know the day in which streaming accounts and platforms get enough money to compete with them, it's over, because that's the last thing that cable TV is holding on to. So they're willing to throw as much money as possible to retain the rights to it, because if they don't, they become irrelevant. That's why TNT is about to become irrelevant now that they don't have the NBA.
Do people like you and I like players from yesteryear? Sure we do.
Yeah.
And we like Wilt, and we like Russell, and we like Julius Erving and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and people like that. But don't we also like players of now?
Yes.
I think that Steph Curry and LeBron James are historically important and great players.
Say someone else besides LeBron and Steph. Fuck, y'all are missing the point. Fuck! The point is about the new face. And the fact that you can't name no one else proves the point.
I think that Giannis and Jokic are getting to that point.
They're getting to that point. I want everybody to understand, Giannis and Jokic are here, nigga. What point are they getting to? This nigga got 3 MVPs, the other got 2 and a DPOY. Both got champion. Nigga, both of their careers is already more accomplished than 99.99999% of any nigga that's ever played in the NBA. What more than, fuck, they're here. Where are they getting to? Giannis has been in the NBA for 12 years, bro. He's been in the NBA for 12 years, played over 800 games. Giannis has one more season. He's going to play more games than Larry Bird. He's already been in the league longer than Larry. Bro, he's been in the league for 12 years, my nigga. Like, he's getting where?
And maybe down the road, Wembanyama and Gilgeous-Alexander are going to be like that. And my advice, I think, is sort of similar to yours. If Channing Frye's point is that they get all this criticism, do you just want to be praised and never criticized? Then you know what?
Yeah.
Don't turn on television and
get on
don't
social
read the
media.
internet.
One of those things is happening. And niggas is starting to turn off television. Yeah, you're right. That's why y'all ratings are down. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, niggas are. That's why they keep doing cuts at ESPN.
And that is a big part of this.
When you are the face of the league, the result is $1 billion worth of contracts.
And Ant-Man, by the way, is trying to be the face of the league because he's got every commercial in the world. And he should.
Bro, these niggas, bro. You sign a contract, Sprite come to you and they say, hey, man, you want to make $12 million this year? Ant didn't know that Sprite contract also came with bullshit narratives as well. It wasn't just you making extra money on the side. It also came with a whole bunch of other stuff as well.
You're a Jordan guy.
Yes, Michael Jordan's the greatest player ever. And if LeBron can't stand it that everybody doesn't have that opinion, too damn bad. Sorry, we're not obliged. And that conversation about Jordan and LeBron, I was at Prime 112 in Miami the other night. Who's the rapper? Slim Thug, I think is his name. I didn't even know him. He stopped me, and you know what he said? Hey, Mike, we got to talk about something, LeBron or Jordan. I go, really? Really? It's 1 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night on Miami Beach. We got to have this conversation. And you know what? We did.
Well,
you know what else? It's
either that or
good for
talk
the
to
league.
Levitard.
It's good for the league.
Why are you out at that hour?
Huh?
2 out. It's too
I'm
late.
not
It's too
sleep
late. Don't be out
5
at that
hours
hour.
like you.
It's actually blowing my mind how much they're missing the point.
Well, I mean, look, Michael Jordan went through it, right? Michael Jordan, when he was dealing with the death of his daddy, did you see all the newspaper articles that were out about him, the stories that were out? When he was playing against the New York Knicks, did you see the gambling stories that was out? We didn't have social media, but he went through it. Kobe Bryant had his share of times that he went through it.
And what Perkins is saying is 100% correct. Shout out to Perkins. Great point that he just made. I think the difference, though, when it comes to you, Perk, is that I think what people are trying to illuminate is that you're right. People in real time did criticize them, but somewhere along the way, 20 years later, people, for whatever reason, has decided to remove that from the discussion, the story of Michael Jordan, the story of Shaq, the story of Charles Barkley. When Charles Barkley spat on the child, and I'm going to continue to say that when it comes to Barkley, when Charles Barkley spat on the child, somehow they've removed that from the conversation of Charles Barkley and his story. But for whatever reason, LeBron, been in the league for 22 years, to this day, I'm hearing Stephen A. Smith talk about the decision. To this day. But you will remove Barkley spitting on a child. You will remove all the things about Michael Jordan in the middle of a playoff series going to Atlantic City to go gamble and smoke cigars. You remove all the stories about Shaquille O'Neal forcing his way out of a situation just so he can make more money, leaving a winning organization to go make more money. And when he got there, not playing all the games, being out of shape, making rap albums, getting swept in the playoffs, all those things, making movies, all those things. Chris Webber forcing his way out of Washington or Golden State. Jason Kidd and Jim Jackson and all of them in Dallas getting into a back and forth, a feud amongst one another because their egos couldn't handle it, so they had to split them up. Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson, them getting into a back and forth. The Eagles got in the way, so they had to split them up. Scottie Pippen quitting on his team in the middle of a playoff series. Scottie Pippen deciding not to get surgery and a procedure that he knew he needed all summer long until the season began. We've decided to remove all of that from the catalog of who they are as NBA players and celebrate them as is, and then compare today's players to incomplete stories of these players. That's the problem that they're saying, and that's when the nostalgia kicks in.
I get what LeBron is saying. My only problem with LeBron saying this is that put an address on. Don't just leave it broad. Say who you speaking to, because it can't be us, because we highlight him every single day, even when he's not playing. We make
sure. Y'all are missing the point. I know it's about Anthony Edwards. I don't know how we keep getting to this point. It's about LeBron, and y'all don't highlight Anthony Edwards every single day. Y'all don't highlight him. Let's prove the point I'm making. Anthony Edwards inside the NBA. They talked about Anthony Edwards regressing a month ago. Again, how he's being defended and effectively talking about how he's regressed. 10 months ago, 14 hours ago about what we're talking about now. A month ago, Charles Barkley or Chuck doesn't have Anthony Edwards in his all-star reserve. That was a month ago. 10 months ago, this right here was a back and forth between him and Dylan Brooks. Again, a month ago about the regression. The only thing that they've talked about Anthony Edwards' entire season is the nigga regressing because he's attempting more threes. That's it. Since then, it was all the way back into the playoffs. That's it. That's quite literally most of what they're talking about. ESPN First Take, I looked this up as well. It's even worse. If you remove anything that happened over the last 2 weeks with Anthony Edwards and First Take, they have not spoke about Anthony Edwards barely at all on First Take, despite the fact that Ant is attempting 10 threes a game and making it at a 40% clip. It's crazy.
What I found fascinating is that we're talking about this a year removed from when we were comparing Anthony Edwards to Michael Jordan. And remember, Anthony Edwards was like, slow your roll. And ever since then, I think he's sort of run away from that discussion because he knows what that brings.
Shanae has been on point with this the entire time because I love the fact that she keeps trying to get people repositioned to where this truly began. You niggas were so thirsty for the MJ comp. He told you no, and you niggas stopped saying, no, we need you to be that. And now that he said he don't want it, what y'all do? Pivot right back to the other MJ comp. Just make it about LeBron. Also, Perkins talking about put an address on it. I'll put an address on it. 123 Kendrick Perkins Lane. You have been a part of the problem as well, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You've been a part of the problem as well. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Telling you, he does not want to be that. So NBA, stop trying to push him to the front of the line to be one of your faces of the NBA. He's telling you, how many different ways must someone tell you they don't want something before you believe him? I believe him when he says he doesn't want to be the face of the NBA. He doesn't want what comes along with being that. That's okay. I watch him come to the game with slides on and bagging. He's not trying to be the representation, the best best face of the NBA. Leave him alone. Don't try to put that on him if he doesn't want it. If I stop by Perk, hey Perk, you need anything? And I know Perk just went through something. Hey Perk, I'm headed to town, man.
It's so crazy because while this is happening, Jason Tatum is literally begging for niggas to be like, hey, give me the face, bro. I want to be the face. Get out of here. Scat. I don't get erect when I watch you the same way I get erect when I watch Anthony Edwards. He just reminds me of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And fuck, I just start touching myself. So, scat. Get out of here, Tatum. Scat. LeBron James got the conversation started about the coverage of the NBA and where it is lacking. The truth is, those who are most powerful and influential in their coverage of the NBA tear down the product and its players for 3 reasons. 1, they want to be bigger than the stars. 1,000% agree. 2, they make the stories about them and not the players. Quite literally, that's what Stephen A. Smith did. Quite literally. He made it about him. Quite literally. And 3, they make more money being critical, which is also true. This is coming from somebody who makes content. Without a doubt, you make more money being critical. Let's just keep it a beat. Current NBA media culture has some making themselves and their opinions the news instead of the actual players. That's why LeBron said what he said, and King James is right. Adding this nigga King James is kind of crazy.
So if you're talking to other people outside of the basketball world, like the hockey player that worked for our network, what's his name?
PK Subban.
Right, who contradicted himself throughout the whole time he was ranting about the NBA, claiming the NBA is basically soft and all this, but he don't watch much of the NBA, so how can you critique it?
We might have to get to a point where we do put names on it. And so from Kendrick Perkins, I hope you also acknowledge that part of the problem is, again, the network that you're on, allowing somebody like that to come on there and voice their opinion about something that they're not informed on enough about. He should not have been there. And to the people out there who keep leaving comments when I speak about PK Summon, whatever his name is, and y'all like, oh, Lo, you 0 for 3 on this take, shut the fuck up. Trust me, I know way more about this topic than he does and probably you do. I don't give a fuck what you may believe, any stories or myth that they tell you about what's going on now. Trust me, I know more about this than that nigga does. And the day until that nigga explains to us with all that passion and fire and desire that was going on in the NHL, why the fuck are their ratings down then? You answer that to me first. You tell me all that passion and fire and desire while y'all had to get rid of your all-star game for what y'all did this year. Why are the ratings not going back up for the NBA? Why is that? You niggas is doing Jimmy High Roller numbers in your fucking game. Shut the fuck up, nigga. More niggas is watching YouTube videos than the whole fucking sport. You got the audacity to run your fucking lips about what we doing. Shut up, nigga. Shut up, nigga. Peak Legend of Winning. My channel has Peak doing more numbers than y'all. A whole fucking league. Thinking Basketball doing better numbers than the whole league. Kenny doing better numbers than the whole league. I think his name is Tone or whatever, sitting next to Mike Wilbon. Nigga talking about, I don't even really see criticism on the network that had an NHL representation criticizing the league. Bro, shut the fuck up. Oh my God. You're so out of touch.